Good evening. Welcome to another episode of Cinema Chat with Amita, Sri Lanka's first LinkedIn live talk show. And you must be wondering why it took a little while for us to go live today. For the first time, I had a small technical glitch. My LinkedIn suddenly told me, Amita, you can't go live now. Try again in few minutes. So I had to try 2 to 3 times, and then here we are meeting again. So I'm extremely sorry about the slight delay. I think this is new normal. You got to expect little technical glitches sometimes. What matters is whether we face them, whether we find solution to them, and then whether we move forward. We there are bigger and more serious challenges in the society than technical glitches, health related ones, a lot of things. Economies are struggling sometimes. So, but what do? We try, we move forward. So, let me talk about myself a little bit. My name is Amita Gamuge, and welcome everyone who is joining on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and on YouTube. I'm an executive coach. I love coaching CEOs, and I'm a personal branding strategist. I'm a live streamer, and I help organizations achieve their B2B sales goals by working with their teams. And then, why this talk show? Why I decided to have a LinkedIn Live uh, about a year ago. When I got the facility, I decided to come and help my community, those very people who talk to me, who meet me, who wish uh, for a lot of things. So I decided to bring in an expert every time, every week, and we talk about a specific topic. Here and there, you find I come all by myself, rarely, talk about some of the things that I know, things like coaching, personal branding, sales. Other than that, most of the time, 99% of the time, I bring an expert. And today, I wanted to bring someone very special. One reason is I used to go to a specific location to buy books for my kid, and then apparently I got to know this gentleman very recently, and it was like, one of your dreams becoming true. You have your favorite bookshop, and you get to meet the owner of the bookshop or one of the directors. So I decided, I mean, while having a discussion, I thought maybe I should bring him to my show and get him to speak about reading, right? What reading could do to you. So, with few minutes delay, we have started. So, without keeping you waiting, let me invite Praveen Samaranayaka, uh, Director, Expo Graphics Private Limited. Good evening, Praveen.
Good evening, Amita. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for your lovely edification. And thank you, Amita, for your. Yes, we had a problem,
Invitation.
but
Yes. Yes.
every problem has a solution.
Yes. Yes. So, Praveen, let's get into the topic at once. I always do one thing when a guest comes here. I don't introduce them by myself, but I dig little deeper into their personal life, especially how they started things, because our generations, our younger generations could learn. I mean, those who come to my show, they learn something from the guests that I bring in. So my first question is, could you talk about your younger age as a schoolboy? What were you doing? How did you spend your younger days of your life?
Okay. Amita, I went to two preschools and three schools. So I started my journey in Polgahavela. I attended the preschool in Polgahavela because my father was in Polgahavela and my mother was in Maharagama. So when they moved into Maharagama, I had to attend to a Maharagama preschool. Then father sent us, me and my brother, to the village school, which is the President's College in Maharagama.
Okay. Okay.
We studied there up to grade 4, and from grade 5 onwards, I studied at St. Peter's College. Up to grade 9, I studied there. And then again, I left the college and joined St. Aloysius Seminary because I wanted to become a priest, a Catholic priest.
Okay.
So I joined the seminary, and I my all my secondary education was at the seminary until A levels. So up to A levels, and after A levels, we did the National Seminary Entrance Examination, which is the selection exam for PTA Seminary. So I got
Yes.
selected, but I didn't continue. So that is the school background of me.
Okay. So, uh, so I mean, my second question actually, I have the answer. So you were
Yes,
planning to become a priest,
yes,
yeah, but you didn't become, and I'm sure that background is still helping you in your family life, in your social life, right? Even in your business, to be a kind person, to whatnot. Yeah, we all learn all these things. Okay, so after that, were you thinking about maybe moving into family business or anything like that? You had something like that in your mind, at the back of the mind, when you left that education? Okay, you have given up of becoming a priest. What were you working in your mind about your
yes.
future, especially?
Uh, Okay, after A levels, apparently me and two of my fellow classmates were selected to the university. We were we had the best results in the class, but none of us went to the university. We left the seminary, and we are in different places now. So at that moment, I didn't have an idea of joining my father's business, which is expographic. After, as a school leaver, I joined Citibank, which is a
Okay,
foreign bank in Sri Lanka, and I worked there as a school leaver. I was a banking assistant, junior executive, and I worked there for 4 years. Then ultimately, my father wanted me and my brother, because uh, society is developing and new ventures are coming in because of the technology. We didn't have a website for our company, so different problems prompted us to come and join the business. That's how we joined.
okay. So since we started talking about the business, which is Expographic Books Private Limited, I think. I think it's fair and it's essential that we talk about your grandfather. I'm sure it was not your father who started the business, and grandfather. So your grandfather has made a name in the reader's mind in Sri Lanka, and then I think in the education sector as well. Could you please, for the benefit of the listeners here, explain a lot about your grandfather and how he got into this business?
Amita, now my grandfather was a school principal. He was teaching English, and he was W.H. Samarnayaka,
Okay,
William Henry Samarnayaka. He's from Polgahavela, and he, in 1940, he authored this practical English book. Uh,
that's
then
before the
he
independence.
Yes, before the independence. Exactly in 1940, he published this book. In 1942, he revised this book. In 1950s, he published another three books, which was English without tears. Later, it became English with a smile. English with a smile, book one, two, three, because
Okay.
a lot of folk tales, lot of Sri Lankan English concepts, grammar, everything was included in this English with a Smile and Practical English, and it was a best-selling book at that time. Still, it is selling, and apparently he has exported also this book to Indian countries in the region, Southeast Asian region. Then, after his demise, my father received the copyright for the
Book.
publications, for
Okay.
publications, and that is how he started this business in 1985. He started the expographic business, and that is the beginning of our business.
Okay. So, if you really look at even today, uh, English as a language in the business world plays a vital role for us to get connected to the world and do international business. So, uh, I mean, my gratitude to your grandfather of helping a lot of kids, youngsters, generations to move forward with that necessary. I mean, this is not an era where we had internet or anything like that. Not even proper newspapers. Even before the independence, that would have been a very difficult task. Also, it would have been he would have taken a very brave step in publishing that book. Amazing.
Publishing.
Yeah. So thank you very much. And then, amazing work done by your father too. Yeah. So you talked about your professional life. So what kind of skills or what kind of experience the banking background gave to you when you wanted to I have two questions, join the business, and then did you join the business as a director?
Yes, a good question. Very thought-provoking question, Amita. First question about the banking. Uh, Apparently, it was a good experience. I had 4 years banking experience, and I worked uh, at the U.S. Embassy counter. Also, I managed the counter under Citibank. So it was a good exposure working as an employee before becoming an employer.
Yes.
So it gave me a lot of experience how to interact with clients, because I was teller. I
Yeah.
was at the front office and customer service. So we used to interact with customers, and we used to get scolded by customers, a lot of complaints. Then we had a fun time because I was just a school leaver, and and
Yeah.
and it apparently a good opening to my career in expographic. So coming back to expographic, your second question, my father uh, never brought us and put in expographic as directors. It was, to tell you frankly, it was not a bed of roses. It was a
So
bed
let
of,
me tell you. So
yeah,
he would have created the university inside for you to go through.
go through. Yes, we apparently went tough time, because from our small days onwards, he taught us certain things. He asked us to work with the at the warehouse. We used to price the books. We used to put the price tags, company seal. Then we used to do customer service also. And apparently, I first learned my how to give the discounts, how to calculate the discount from the calculator at Textographic when I was small. I was at about 12, 13 years of age at that time. So we used to bind my grandfather's book also at the press. So we
Okay.
had a tough time. So at actually, even I have done deliveries also. I have done deliveries in the lorry. I like a cleaner. I have driven the lorry, and apparently I'll tell you one example, one
Please.
experience. We I My father asked me to go and deliver some books to zonal education department in Hakmana, Akuressa. So
Okay.
this was a war torn uh, time, when
That
the
time.
because, yeah, at that
Yeah.
time, so when we reached the educational department, it was about 6 o'clock. Then we didn't have a place to
Sleep.
sleep. So the person who was there asked us to not to leave because of the security issues. So I had to sleep at the corridor of the educational department. So that was a good experience. So we were brought up like that to the business. So we have gone through the mill. So
Yeah,
it is very easy for us to work as directors now.
exactly. I mean,
Yes.
this is a good message for today's young kids where they come and they want instant gratification.
Yeah.
Even when it comes to an employment, the first question that they sometimes ask is, okay, what are my benefits even before you deliver anything? Of course, your benefits will be given, but there's something called working hard, delivering what you're supposed to be delivering. So even though your father could have easily put you into a comfortable position, he wanted you all to learn. Otherwise, the business wouldn't have continued. Business would struggle then. Yeah.
Struggle.
Yeah, so amazing. This is how the parents look after their kids, especially during our times. I wonder whether
This is how
sometimes
they
whether
mold us.
yeah,
Yes.
I wonder whether sometimes whether we will do the same thing. Anyway, that's a great learning. So we have one of our fans. Hi, Tamit. Uh, Good evening. Thank you very much for joining. He's joining from Panadura, right? So my next question. Now, you joined your dad. Of course, you saw the websites were coming. You just told me that, and then there were devices coming, at least the laptops and the desktops. People who used to read on a printed paper, they also started reading on devices. So what kind of a impact this digital revolution or the PC or the ICT revolution had on books and book reading?
Uh, yes, Amita. Now, if you tell me, Praveen, I have 20 feet roof and there are cobwebs. I want to remove the cobwebs, Praveen. I will bring and give you a scaffolding or a ladder, and you would be happy. So this digitalization of books is a scaffolding. Apparently, it is a boost to the readership and reading
Okay.
ability, because there is one thing. I spoke to the librarian of University of Moratuwa before the COVID in 2018 or 19, and I asked, uh, Madam, apparently are these students using your library? What she said was surprised me. She said uh, their printed materials are not being used by students much, but their usage of online materials has risen to 300%.
Oh, okay.
300% increase in the usage of online materials, which is a very good number. So that is, so coming back to your question, Namita. So this digital revolution, so we have online reading and publishing platforms, mobile technology to access internet and grab uh, whatever the information you require, and you have Google Scholar, you have plethora of articles on the Google. So the readership is not affected, although the sales have dwindled a little bit, but the readership, I don't think it has affected the readership, because
In
anyway
fact,
people are reading
it would have affected it positively.
positively, because people are reading even on tab or phone or Kindle, they read. So
Okay.
that is a change, positive change.
Yeah, and we should expect it and then move forward by adapting to it.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, we have Ramesh. Ramesh De Silva. Great talk, Amita and Praveen. Hi, Ramesh. Thank you for joining. And, maybe you are with after your dinner, maybe you are with a cup of coffee and then, cup of tea. Thank you. We also have another LinkedIn news. I can't see the name. Nice to see you both. Thank you very much for joining with us. If you have any questions that you need to ask Praveen about books, he's an expert on books and reading. Please throw your questions. I have a set of questions made ready for him, but if you have any questions, please throw them here. We will ask it from him. So then, my next question is, what is your opinion about the general reading habits of Sri Lankans? Especially maybe, no, I don't want to say today, then I would be talking about pandemic. Now, leave out the pandemic generally,
Mhm.
because you are the one who is selling the books, so you know whether they read or not. Or, I mean, not only that, I know you travel around the world, you go for exhibitions, especially book exhibitions, printers, publishers, you are well connected. So you also have an opportunity to compare the world and Sri Lankans. What is your opinion?
Okay, good question, Amit. Now, you know, Amit, now in Sri Lanka, population is 21 million,
Yeah.
right? From 21 million, we have about in government schools student population, let's say about 4.1 million. With the private
Okay.
sector schools and international schools, it would be roughly, let's say, 5 million.
Yeah.
So they are school goers. So and on top of it, we have 91% literacy rate.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
91% literacy, which is very good. Which is
Yeah.
good. So my question is, are we really encouraging students to read? Are we really? Because if you take global statistics by Statistica Incorporation in 2019 in New York,
Okay. Okay.
I would tell you average age group of highest number of internet users worldwide is 25, between 25 age 25 to 34, highest number
Okay.
of internet usage, right? This is the
Okay.
statistics done by Statistica in USA. So average
2019.
daily time spent with internet per capita worldwide 170 minutes, which is almost about 3 hours,
Yes.
right? They spend on internet. Average daily time spent on social media worldwide is 145 minutes. That is about 2 hours and 45 minutes. So
Yes.
altogether we spend about, let's say, 6 hours on internet
On
and social
internet.
media. So that
Yes.
is that is what the statistics shows us.
Yeah.
So coming back to Sri Lanka, if you take the habit of readership in Sri
Yes.
Lanka, now Amita, now when I go to outstation universities, right? I use public transport. I never go in my vehicle. I use the train. I use the bus. So do we see people reading in the while traveling? But in other countries, even if you go one station, they read.
Okay.
But here in Sri Lanka, in office trains, of course, they read papers that I have
Yeah.
seen.
Yes.
But I don't think that reading culture is present in Sri Lanka.
True.
So
Yeah.
this reading habit is absent in a certain age group in Sri Lanka. That is what I feel.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but in other age groups like above 40, middle age, and later ages, they tend to read.
So
Yes,
looks like they realize that you should read after
yes.
after some times
After
when
some
you
time,
when you when you reach the middle age.
yes, yes,
Okay, that's an interesting observation, because Praveen, I am a reader. I'm a good reader, so I don't think I don't even know whether others are reading or not. Maybe I have a lot of people who read, maybe, but
Mhm.
then you are neutral. You see whether people read or not, because that you are among books. Yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, that's a very good observation, and I think you are also sending a good message to the society. like what you see now, the trend is not healthy.
Yes.
Maybe they are reading at home, but then imagine if you have to commute from here to, let's say, Polgahaville or somewhere. If it is a 1 hour journey, uh, you could read maybe at
Yes.
least 100, 200 pages.
Yeah.
Uh, Let me ask you another question. Does it matter what you read? Or
No.
are you asking us to read only management books, or read only scientific stuff, or does it matter? I mean, I don't know whether I should be asking this question from someone who is managing a bookstore, a book business, but then does it matter?
No, it doesn't matter because you have your free will. Whatever you read is okay because every book has some sort of a knowledge that you can grab. So make use of that opportunity. Whether you read fiction, novels, management, or magazine, or adult fiction, it doesn't matter. What matters is the knowledge and the education you have to gain from the book you read. That is most important.
Yeah, and I think some of the books will help you to imagine better. Your imagination. Uh, okay, we have a comment. Brad Wolf, good books to read is a fart is the life wind to success. Yeah. So sometimes, okay, let's say you are reading a fiction, right? At least you have to imagine the entire story, because you are not watching a movie. Sometimes
Yes,
movie, it'll help you to think, imagine the colors, the atmosphere, the environment, the situation. Yeah. So your ability to imagine worst scenario, let's say, your ability to imagine will be improved, among many other things. Yeah, of
yes,
course.
yes.
So great. So my uh, next question uh, is about kids, about children. Yeah, I think, I mean, at when you are 25 or when you are 30, that's why you said that you have seen, once when you reach middle age, people tend to read. Maybe it's self realization. Maybe when someone is at 20 or 25, you may not be able to force them to read. But what about children? How can how can we do it? How can we inculcate reading as a habit among children? You have any tips that would help the parents? Yeah.
Yes, Amita. Apparently, expographic, we used to have this Sibyl Nanda storytelling,
Oh,
right?
okay.
So Sibyl Nanda used to come to our bookstore, and there were about 30, 40 children, let's say about 25 children, and they act the play. And storytelling, we everybody like, right? Everybody likes storytelling
Yeah.
because
Yes.
storytelling is a figure of speech.
Yes.
I- it's a figure of speech because when we start saying once upon darling, once upon a time there was a tiger, so we all like. So my answer is that there should be three persons who should encourage reading in children. First
Okay.
is your parents, second the school, third the friends. So these three parties should encourage children, little ones, to read. Now, for parents, they can encourage to children to read books, like they can encourage children to join pick a book programs, and they can read. They can allocate 1 hour or 30 minutes per day for to read about any story, a chapter or a page. So that's what parents could do. So when it comes to school, which is the second one, school should encourage children's reading ability. I have seen in now, Amita, now when we were at St. Peter's, we had a library period. It was
Okay.
compulsory for us to go and sit there, whether you read or no, you have to be there 40 forty
Yeah.
five minutes, right?
Yes.
So now I have seen now in schools, international schools, they have mini libraries in every classroom, and they
Okay.
have reading month, so they encourage children to read. And now in grade 1, I have seen one good example. They encourage children to bring Ladybird series, one book.
Okay.
Every child should bring one book. Now if I bring my book, I finish reading and I share it with you, and you share your book with me. So it's a sharing thing, which is good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So whether you read, and the other third one is friends. Friends should encourage, because we talk of peer pressure
Yes.
at that age. Friends should encourage, right? So they should
Yes.
tell, come, let's have,
Let's
let's
read.
read
I
this.
read
Yeah,
this book.
let's
Why
read
don't
this.
you
Yeah,
also
why
read this
don't you
book?
read?
Yeah.
I read about Roald Dahl, right? Why don't you read?
Mm.
I read this Harry Potter. So why don't you read that? So that's an encouragement. So this one, from the children's age, we should give. We should start.
Okay. Interesting. So, what you say is parents should first encourage children to read, and then the
School.
school, and then the friends. When you were talking about Sibyl Nanda's storytelling, now I have a workshop that's called storytelling for selling, for
Mm,
people who are selling how to use story, or rather storytelling as a skill in sales. So you can hook with the buyer, and buyer will listen to you interestingly. Now, what we don't realize is most of the books what we read as kids are full of stories, and then you inculcate that ability to tell a story, and then you become good communicators, whether you are a banker
yes.
or a sales professional or whoever, whether you are a teacher, that ability becomes a life skill for you. Yeah,
Yes.
amazing. I mean, I know pandemic would have maybe temporarily halted some of the things that we used to do,
Yes.
but I think with time we will have to start them back again. I think even libraries, we stopped going to libraries because we were scared about, books getting exchanged, germs coming with the books. I think we'll have to figure out a way of maybe uh, sterilizing the books in some way with ultraviolet or whatever, so that people will come back to libraries.
Yes.
And
Let's hope so.
yeah, so what happens is the negative impact is will not be felt today, but after few years, right? Okay, so coming back to pandemic, right? What is your opinion, experience? What have you witnessed? What happened to reading due to pandemic?
Amita, now pandemic, the world came to a standstill, right?
Yes,
The world came to a standstill, and we could not do what we used to do,
yes,
right? As a result of that, right? Now let's say we were doing our exercises, we were touring, we were globe trotting, and let's say we used to go for films. So we could not do any of those.
yeah,
So as a result of that, the these our customers, let's say citizens of Sri Lanka, or
mm,
let's say in the world, entire
yeah.
world, they started reading because they were at home, right?
So they could do something that they have not been doing.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
start reading.
exactly, exactly. Start reading, because apparently, if I look at my sales turnover and what they bought during the pandemic through online sales and door-to-door delivery, I have seen fictions, novels, Harry Potter series, let's say Hardy Boys, then Nancy Drew, Peter Rabbit, Asterix, Tintin. So these and lot of fantasy books, self development books people used to read. So that's in a way it's a blessing in disguise.
Yes, I know.
It's a blessing in
While we
disguise.
while we hear all the negative news, so there is something positive that has happened. People have started reading. Yeah,
Yes, exactly.
yeah.
They have started reading.
Okay. So and you said you name a lot of children's books. Now you said even children have started reading. They would have
Yes,
pressurizing the parents. Hey, I want this book. Get me the book.
get me the book. However, they used to, and the other hand, now Amita, we are talking about the English population now.
Yes.
English speaking population. Now expographic caters to English speaking population because we have very few Sinhala books.
Yeah.
Now, if we take the Sinhala market, it's huge in Sri Lanka because Sinhala is the
Primary.
language is the mother tongue, and
Yeah.
the majority of the population speaks Sinhalese. So
Yes.
Sinhala novels would have had a massive sale
Massive
during
sale.
pandemic. Yes,
Yeah.
I'm very sure. I'm very sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So these things are eventually will impact the society positively. I mean, a nation that reads will have many benefits.
Many
Yeah.
benefits.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So now I know other than you doing your business, I need to ask you this. Give us some good reasons as to why you should read. Not because you are in the book business.
Not because of it brings us sales
Yes.
and end of the day sales turnover. Okay,
Yes.
good question, Amita. Um, we should read because now if we take there, I see two aspects. First aspect is love. We all live because of love. Second aspect is education. Now, love, if we talk about love, first we should love ourselves.
Yes.
Then we should love our society. First, society is the family and
Yeah.
the society outside. Thirdly, we should love nature and the environment. Secondly, education. So, in this education, we should first should see whether it's education in Sri Lanka is exam oriented or life oriented, right? Exam oriented or life oriented. So, but anyway, whether it's exam oriented or life oriented, these two components should be included in education, which is art and culture.
Mm.
Art and culture. Because now you see, Amita, we have music in the syllabus, art in
Yes.
the syllabus,
Yes.
dancing in the syllabus,
Yes.
Sinhala literature and English literature. So these are all listed subjects. Why it is
Yes.
included? Because a man, a human being, start thinking through reading and art and culture. So
Okay.
reading is connected to art and culture. We value the film, right?
Yes.
We value the reading because
Ye-
it's a experience of another person becomes
Yes.
becoming my experience.
Yeah.
Now let's say uh, I'll give you a small example. We call it, this is the best. My school, Amita, my school is the best school in Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
My school is the best school in Colombo. So
Yes.
how do you define this best school, right? What is the benchmark? When you go to that best school, sometimes you see it's not cleaned. Sometimes the toilets are not cleaned. So how can it become the best school? So we segregate ourselves, which is very bad. So
Yes.
when you include art and culture and reading habits in children and adults, you tend to become emotionally intelligent. Emotionally intelligent. You have to read these books. It worked for me by Colin Powell.
Oh,
It
okay.
gives 14, 13 rules how to become a leader. And all 13 rules has this concept called emotional intelligence, how to segregate your actions from your emotions and add intelligence. So that is why reading is very important. It molds a man, it develops a man. That is my message.
Wow. So Colin Powell died a
Yes,
few,
he
yeah,
passed away in
it,
October 18th, on
yeah. So
October
I'm
18th.
sure. So do you still have the book, this specific book in store?
Yes, we
Okay,
have.
amazing. So I think I should order one.
Yes,
You just sparked me, gave me a little curiosity. Okay, I knew that he has written book, but I haven't read the book. I think I should read. Thank you very much. So that's a good one. So you gave me a very comprehensive answer as to why one should read. It not only it enriches someone, it gives it treats you as a whole person. So that the society will have depth. The society will be a more thoughtful and a kind and a loving place, I would say. Yeah, that's
exactly.
yeah. Sometimes we see some of those qualities are lacking in the society. So you, as a person who associate a lot of people who read books, I mean, I'm sure the vibration between you and the people who come to your store, I mean, are very much equal because they love books and then you love books. Think about it.
Yes,
Yeah, it's an amazing experience to associate people with the same vibe from morning to evening.
morning to evening. Correct.
Yeah. So, can you recall uh, any books where people come and say that that particular book has impacted their lives rather? I mean, because I know you are not always on the floor, but then you have been with books forever. So I'm sure you could share some experiences where someone who has read the book and that person would come and tell you, hey, look, Praveen, I read this book and it made this impact on my life. Those are that's what make your life more
Sentiments.
meaningful. Yeah, exactly. You
Yes.
want to share some
Uh,
experiences?
yeah, Amita. Apparently, I'll tell you two experiences. Now, some customers come to a bookstore and buy books, and they read and come back and tell
Yes.
us, yeah, you got to read this. Yeah, you got to read this because this is a good book. So I have very many experiences like that. Now some people bought the Goal by Gold Rat, then Who Moved My Cheese by
Jeez.
Spencer Johnson, the Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, then especially the Blue Ocean Strategy. So
Yes.
these books were purchased by clients, and they apparently they honestly come and tell us to you should read these books. Now I have this book,
Oh,
Retire Young and Retire Rich
retire
by
rich.
Robert Kiyosaki.
Kiyosaki. Yes.
Then How to Develop Self Confidence by Dale Carnegie.
Okay.
Then Fake by again Robert Kiyosaki.
Yes.
Then Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, which is the latest one.
Yeah, and
And
then
last
these
but
books
not
are
least,
forever famous. These books are forever
forever famous.
demanded.
Yes. And this one I have personally would like to suggest people to read, because this is about Nujeen Mustafa. Nujeen Mustafa. I met this girl in Frankfurt Book Fair, and she signed this copy. She is the she traveled about 7,000 kilometers in her wheelchair from war-torn Syria to Germany. So it's
Wow.
a very life-changing experience about Nujeen Mustafa. So these type of books apparently changes your life, and
Yeah,
it
I
has a
know.
message.
Yeah, yeah. And then you meeting her personally at
Yes, I
Frankfurt, and
met her.
she signing the book and giving it to you.
Yes,
Yeah, thank you very much for sharing those experiences. Great. So I'm sure, uh, like, uh, when you are on the floor, even your staff, every day they must be learning from the readers when they come and share
Yes.
their experience. Amazing,
And
amazing.
apparently, Amita, now some customers are very thankful for us for to us because they come and thank us. I passed my exam because of your books, because you gave
Yeah,
me correct books where I could do my assignments on time. So those type of experience we have.
amazing, amazing. So later on, I will ask you whether there are any part-time jobs available for somebody to stay on the floor whenever I have free time, because your bookstore is only about 1 kilometer away from my home.
From home.
I'll take that discussion uh, outside this session. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So I mean, you gave some good examples. I mean, about you being at Frankfurt to so many things. So amazing. Thank you very much. My next question is uh, now reading, inculcating a habit of reading among teens or young adults. This is the rebellion age.
Age.
You have any tips, tricks, suggestions, recommendations?
Yes, yes, I have. I have. Amita, now, now, Doctor, who I can't remember his name, Dr. Abdul Kalam, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Abdul Kalam once said, "The best brains of the nation may be found on the last benches of the classroom."
Has he really said that?
He really said that.
Wow.
Best brains of the nation may be found in the last benches of the classroom, which is very thought-provoking statement.
Yeah,
It is a very big
I
message.
have met many of those backbenchers in this show,
Yes,
honestly.
exactly.
And they say, Amita, I mean, I was not a bright student, but I was at the back bench and I was a little troublemaker, but they are very good citizens today.
I'll tell you one experience. Now, I joined St. Peter's at grade 5. I
Okay.
was the weakest student. My position in the class was there were 45 students, 45th is my position in
Place.
the class.
Yeah, okay.
But in 2018, I got a chance to teach the same class as the class teacher,
Wow.
right? So I use different methodologies because my degree was English language teaching. So use different methodologies of teaching to these students, which is very new to them.
And
So
then
my
and then you never look at a weak child
no,
from the traditional lens.
no, yes, I ask all of them to come to the front benches. Yes. So my advice to
Yes.
these uh, teenagers, now it is a very as you said, it's a very tough age because a lot of changes are happening in their body itself. So
Yes.
as a result of that, they disseminate from what they were doing, and they tend to do various type of things. So this reading habit goes away,
Yes.
walks away
Yeah.
from them. So so my uh, advice is read. Now, let's say, now, when I was a A-level student, when I was a teenager, this was in the prescribed syllabus, The Waiting Earth by Punyakanti Vijayanagara, right? We love reading this book, right? Because it was in the prescribed syllabus of English literature. We loved reading this book because it foregrounds the lot of themes of love, poverty, the relationship between the mother and the daughter, about sex, and apparently this has a very a special episode of a teacher having a relationship with the student.
Oh, okay.
So, my message is to these teenagers: read whatever you like. If you don't like reading, at least watch a film, watch a movie,
Mm.
right? So, if you are reading for pleasure, read anything you like. So, if you are reading for knowledge or education purposes to uh, get the knowledge of English or whatever, first start with the editorial of the newspaper. That is my message,
Yeah, and
because
then
that is
I
how,
see
yes,
I see a different message here. Parents also tend to push children if they see that the child is reading a novel or a fiction, they might push them, read something related to education or something,
yes,
and which might be very boring at that age. So
yes.
what you recommend is, doesn't matter what they read, just encourage them to read.
Amita, now even if if it is your son or daughter, you cannot ask them to become a doctor or an engineer if they like to become an artist.
True.
Now, what is happening today is my child comes with 98 marks for the mathematics paper, and the mother is worried about the 2 marks which she didn't take. So, this is the culture. With this culture, they have to live.
I
So, that
know.
is very bad.
Yeah. Which we didn't have that problem.
We didn't have.
Yeah.
Yes.
But today it's due to competition, limited opportunities. Parents are, whether it's
Pushing
right or wrong,
at a rat
they are
race.
compelled to, yeah, it's a rat race. Yeah.
Yes.
But then these are the kind of conversation that we should have with people like you, where there's a lot of experience, interaction with parents and other intellectuals, where we may not be able to change a lot, but that 1% that we change could have a lasting impact in the society.
Lasting. Yes.
Yeah. So my next question to you. So we covered the children, we covered the teenagers. Yeah. Now we also are in the society or an era generation where there are devices. Like, if I'm to recall uh, a Facebook post in 2019 which said, if there is no device or a mobile phone in a particular child's hand, there is a intelligent parent behind him. And
Yes.
came the pandemic. Now
Yes.
parents are fighting, we want devices.
Devices.
So my question is, with devices, with internet and so many things, as a whole, is reading declining or declined? What's your opinion? What's you feel? What you experience on a day-to-day basis?
Yes, Amita. Reading. Let's say now. Let's put it this way. Habit of reading books is declining only among a particular age group, which I
Okay.
talked earlier.
Yeah.
So now, if you talk to a university lecturer, you will get the same answer. If you talk to a librarian, you will get the same answer. If you talk to an adult or or a university student or a secondary school goer, no, 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 we don't read books. It doesn't make any sense. That is
It's
the culture. So we want a mobile phone or whatever, social media. So that is the culture. But now, because now reading is not declining, because we have so many other alternatives. We have so many options. Now, we cannot say, although you don't read a book, he's not reading. He must be reading on Facebook or LinkedIn or WhatsApp or Viber or whichever the social media. He must be reading something, because
true.
there are a lot of alternatives, like and top of it, we have ebooks, the Kindle, audiobooks. Now when you talk audiobooks, some customers want audiobooks because they want to hear, they don't have time to read, they want to
Yeah.
hear what is in the book while driving.
Yeah. With the traffic we have.
With the traffic
it's-
we have, with the traffic we have. So now recently I ordered this chicken soup for the soul, the
yes.
audiobook. I used to hear, I used to
While
play the audiobook while driving. So
yeah,
so we
exactly.
have, likewise we have so many other alternatives, so we cannot judge. They are not reading,
Okay.
they are
So there are
reading.
other options because they are
There
using
are
maybe they are
various other
using other
options.
options. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Right. Okay. That's
So
a
what is declining is not reading. What is declining is cultural identity, ethics, and attitudes, not the reading.
not the reading. Yeah. So we have a good question from Tusita. Tusita Nuan Aponsu. Should we read physical books or is it okay to read e-books? What is your recommendation?
For me personally, it is not like having the physical book in hand and get the smell of it. But in certain instances where we cannot source the physical book, at least now we tend to get the ebook version. Even if we cannot get the ebook version, somehow or the other we download the ebook. So it doesn't matter whether you have the physical book or the ebook, reading is more important. But it's, for me personally, Amita, you also will agree with me,
Yes,
it
yes, I
is
agree.
something that is that we don't like. Not that
I
because of
love.
the sales perspective, but
No, no,
we don't feel like reading on the tab, or I don't get that feeling personally.
no. I
Having
have a
having a book in
Kindle.
hand, yes,
Yeah, I have a Kindle. I have a Kindle account, but I
yes,
still buy books.
yes,
Nothing like the smell. Yeah.
smell of it,
Oh my God.
yes.
It can take you to a
Good question.
different. Yeah, very good question.
Yes,
Uh, thank you, Tusita, for that question. So, Tusita, stay here for a while. I think I have to talk to you. In the meantime, my last question: what is your overall advice to the society, to the country, to everybody who is here?
Amita, now in Sri Lanka, I don't know whether I have seen this very badly happening in Sri Lanka. So my message to this younger generation and the older generation, everybody alike, is to avoid discrimination for better living. That is my message. I have another message, but I will tell you why. To avoid discrimination, we tend to confine ourselves. Tend to segregate ourselves, right? Sinhala English, rich and poor, haves and have-nots, caste
Mm.
discrimination, religious, race. So we have all these. Why we should avoid is, now let's say, Amita, now uh, uh, if you ask an English speaking gentleman how to go to town hall, he would say go straight and turn left, right? But if you ask me, Amita, you go straight and turn left side. So when you say left side, it is Sri Lankan English,
Yes.
which we say, ayo, he's speaking all bad English. He's like, so if I ask you to bring this soap piece, it's Sri Lankan English, right? But
Yes.
you know that you are asking for a piece of soap, right?
True.
See the attitude, see the attitude. So these discrimination should be avoided because it is detrimental to the
Progression.
education process. Now if you go
Yeah.
to Germany and any European country, they also make mistakes, but do we laugh at them? No,
No.
we don't
No.
laugh at them. We don't do that, right?
And they
But
don't do
here we
that.
do it. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
here we do it.
True.
So avoid discrimination. And the other message which I want to give you is, a reader lives thousands of lives.
Okay.
A person who does not read
Doesn't
only one
read.
life. Yeah,
Yeah.
only one life. So that is my message. And also, I would like to mention about Dr. Abdul Kalam here. He
Yes.
once said, one best book is equal to a 200 good friends, but one good friend is equal to a library. So you associate a library, that is the best option. So my advice to all here who are present here, including you, is to read, read, and read, which
Yeah.
will change your life. Thank you,
Okay.
Amita.
Thank you. So we have Ramesh, very wise thoughts, Praveen, and very thought-provoking questions, Amita. Kudos to both of you. Thank you, Ramesh. You have been staying here right throughout. Thank you. And in the meantime, I what I do is I always offer a book courtesy of Pick a Book. So what we could do is, I'm sure Praveen would help me to offer uh, a book. One book will go to, I mean, anyway, Pick a Book will offer a book that will go to Romesh for being with the show, and then uh, Tusita, you will get a book courtesy of Expographic Books Private Limited, which will be couriered to you. Please inbox your address and your mobile number. I mean, these are the kind of great interaction we should have, great intellectual conversations we have, meaningful conversation where we talk about love and caring and enriching lives. So, Praveen, thank you so very much for accepting my invitation without any hesitance and said, "Yeah, Amita, let's do it." And that tells I know your background now, so I know why you have been so courteous and kind to accept and come. So it was a well spent evening. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Amita. Thank you for inviting me for this wonderful session. And apparently, it's a good experience for me. So I wish you success and blessings for
Yes.
all your future endeavors.
Yeah. Thank you.
Everything would be
And
successful, Amita.
yeah, and then let's all of us work together, making this nation, making this world a better place. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone. Uh, Join us next week as well. Stay safe and good night.
Good night.